My name is Carter Ward. I'm the Community Partnership Manager here at Capital One. My role here is to kind of be the liaison between both ArtsFairfax and each of our community partners to make sure that you guys are being scheduled and that your show is being advanced and put on sale. We'll go through all of these different capabilities of the building and what we help you with during this presentation. But between myself and Kelly, who's also on this call with ArtsFairfax, we will be the two main points of contact kind of in these early stages of learning about the program and getting started. Alrighty, most of the pictures in here are from this current season, which is season 3. This is the information session for season 5, which runs September 2025 to June 2026. And if you're wondering what happened to season 4, scheduling has recently been completed and we're contracting that one. So it's a very forward-looking program where we're in 3, scheduled 4, and now kind of briefing you on season 5. And just kind of a history and explanation of ArtsFairfax role in this. So when you apply, it will actually be through ArtsFairfax who will determine if you are eligible, go through all of the nonprofit status and find out where your address is and things like that. Kelly, if you have anything to add about ArtsFairfax that you'd like to put in, go ahead.
Thanks, Carter. I'm still getting a couple of registrations here, so try and make sure that Zoom link gets to everybody. Yeah, I'll just add, there's a lovely description on screen, but as the designated nonprofit for the county, we're really dedicated to improving access for everyone within the county, and we are helping facilitate this partnership between Fairfax County and Capital One Hall. So we're happy to be part of this, and I look forward to hearing with you.
Perfect, thanks. And for anyone that's wondering, on the left there, that's the Capital Wind Symphony just a couple months ago. And you can kind of get a glimpse at our orchestra shell constructed there in the back. So nice little sneak peek of what the stage looks like. Just a highlight of kind of what we'll go over today. I'm going to show some more examples of what we've seen in season 3 to kind of inspire you and give an example of what our rooms can do. I'll quickly go over the available spaces that are for rent through this program. Myself and Kelly will go through the application process. I think we'll take a break from these slides to actually look at the ArtsFairfax website and the application. We'll go through the anticipated cost by show type. This is really important, especially for my returning community partners. Season 4 and season 5 will have different price scheduling than season 3 and the prior seasons have, so that'll be really important. And then, of course, we'll go over transportation and parking. You want to know how to get here and how we can accommodate your groups. So just to look, some season 3 programs. On the left here, we have Virginia Ballet Company in the Vault. This is our black box theater. We usually do about 203 seats in that room. They can slide out kind of like bleacher seating. Really nice for smaller productions. It's a very cost-effective way to get in a very pro room. In the middle there, we got Tim's We Rock Cancer Show with Pat McGee Band and John Popper. I highlight this one as a great example of a community partner going out and grabbing a bigger artist, a combined show. We also just saw this very successfully with Jonathan's Fairfax Symphony and a touring Beatles tribute band that sold out the main theater. So just an idea of how you can kind of take this grant and expand it. And then on the right, we have Novasian Chorus. They had a phenomenal show with some traditional artistry in the main theater. So we kind of already saw some of the spaces. On our left here, we have the main theater. There's about 25 dates every season available in the main theater. Total capacity, 1561. We have in the bottom there, the orchestra level. If memory serves me correctly, just under 900 seats there, and then the rest split between the 2 balconies. What we recommend for most of our community partners is if you have your show coming on sale, we'll start with just the orchestra to make sure everyone kind of packs in there before opening the balconies. In the middle, you can see the vault theater. Those are the seats that I was describing that roll out, take up about half the room. And then what you're seeing left in the front there is the stage space. I've seen a lot of great theater, ballet, and concert productions in there. We are also starting to book shows with standing room only in there. I'd love to see the community partners jump in on that as well. There's 57 available dates every season, and rent is $500 a day. I think I missed rent on the main theater. It's $19.50 per day. And we'll go over later towards the end of this presentation what is included in that rent. Lastly, on the right, we have our dueling classrooms. That photo is both of the rooms. There's a sliding wall that goes down the middle. You can rent either A or B or both. And there's 220 dates available throughout the year at these reduced rates. We've seen some really interesting group meetings in there. In the Vienna Falls Chorus, the ladies are in there every Tuesday night rehearsing. So it can function as a rehearsal space. We have risers and other things that you may need for that. And we would love to see that space grow as a rehearsal function. Next, go over some of the event guidelines. So if you are the applicant and you are the contracted organization, we just ask that you are the primary presenter, producer, and promoter of the event. As I already mentioned, some great examples of this are We Rock Cancer bringing in the Pat McGee Band and the Fairfax Symphony bringing in the Classical Mystery Tour. In both of those cases, the contracted community partner was still the primary presenter. So yes, of course, collaboration is encouraged and allowed, and the event must feature some sort of arts-related performance. The primary goal of the program is ticketed events in all of our rooms. Obviously, the classrooms being more of a rehearsal, non-ticketed space. But what we're trying to communicate here is it's not so much for galas or non-ticketed shows related only to your organization. We want this to expand into the county and let arts lovers from around Tysons come in and enjoy your event. This is when we go into a little bit of what makes you eligible for the program. I'll break here and let Kelly step in and go over some of these bullet points, and then I think we'll jump over to the application.
Thanks, Carter. So each of the bullet points that you see here is going to be the first questions you are asked in the eligibility section of the application. So you won't get very far if you don't meet this criteria. So to highlight a couple of the pieces here, you need an address of record in Fairfax County, and there are a few ways that we will check and verify that. Primarily, we'll ask for your VA 102 form. There's some information on our website about how to find that and how to make sure that you have the most up-to-date form and correct information there. You can also verify your organization's address through the My Neighborhood website in Fairfax County, and that will indicate exactly which jurisdiction that you are within the county itself. You also need to be a 501c organization or a Fairfax County agency or Fairfax County Public School partner that has a mission within the arts. In addition to that, a couple other pieces, compliance with all state, local, and federal laws. You must carry liability insurance of at least $1 million per occurrence and $2 million aggregate. And then, as Carter mentioned in the last slide, the contracted organization really has to be the primary presenter of the event that's taking place. And there's a space in your application for you to address that. So I think, Carter, can I share my screen now? And I Absolutely. Will just take you really quickly to have a peek at the application itself. So, all right. Can we see the website now?
Yes. Looks like we got the Vienna Jammers there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got a scroll up front, so it just popped up on the perfect page for right now. But when this scroll doesn't come to exactly the information we're talking about tonight, when it's doing its job and scrolling, if you want to find out about the Capital One Hall Community Arts Partnership, under our Find Opportunities category, it's the top one currently listed here. So you can click there and that'll take you to all the information about working through this process. So I want to highlight two pieces as you're beginning to consider applying. if we scroll all the way down past all this beautiful marketing material that we've put together, and past the overview of the whole process, the whole hall, you'll find information about actually applying and holding your event at Capital One. So there's 2 sections here for you to think about and consider. These documents are also going to continue to be updated in the next week or so. Like Carter mentioned, there are some changes for the coming season. So you see some information being clarified as season 5 and season 4, and you'll continue to see some season 5 specifics added in the next few weeks. So lots of information here, some of which is more appropriate for once you have a date, but you'll be able to see a fee schedule, a calendar of the timeline moving forward, the dates that we have available, and then some specifics about the hall itself. I'll also add that if you want to come back to this conversation, this is where you'll find our info session after we upload it to the website, and a really nice description that Capital One Hall put together about the facility itself. So you can check that out if you are interested in learning more about the space. And then the second section over here, when we come back to this Capital One Hall main page, is the application itself. So on this page, you'll be able to find a Word version of the application that you will submit for Capital One Hall usage. So if you want to write that offline or work with someone else who can't access it in Submittable, you can download it right here. And then there's some instructions for getting into Submittable, which we'll do together in just a moment. And again, a couple other pieces that you'll see updated for season 5 in the next week or so. So when you're ready to submit your application, you'll click here. It will take you off the ArtsFairfax page and to our Submittable webpage. Submittable is the software that we use to manage all of our applications for our program. So a couple overview pieces here, contact information for me and others, depending on what you're doing. Right now, we have several applications open, so we're going to make our way down to the Capital One Hall Community Arts Partnership for Season 5. And then you'll click Submit to get started. When that's the point where Submittable will prompt you to create a login. For the sake of time tonight, I've already logged in here. And you'll be first presented with that criteria that we looked at just a minute ago in Carter's presentation. So you're asked to acknowledge your address of record being within Fairfax County, your 501c3 status, your organization's mission, and then compliance with legal and insurance criteria. And once you've acknowledged those pieces, you're taken to the actual application. So this application, pretty straightforward. Those pieces that are starred require a name to go in here. So you can tell I've been testing lots of applications. A couple of things I would like to point out. Some questions have kind of like a secondary explanation beneath them. So that may help you get to a better answer or find out where you can find the answer for your organization. A few questions like this will, or if I click this one, actually, will pop up with a secondary question. So if you say no, maybe it'll ask you for a little bit more information. Contact details are pretty straightforward. There's documents required to upload. Several forms of documents are acceptable, like pretty major forms of documents here. And then as you get to information that's specific to your performance, you're going to be asked to identify the spaces that you would like to reserve. And once you do that, some dates will populate below. So you'll see main choice, second choice, and third choice for each space that you're reserving. One note here, Submitable is not smart enough to eliminate your previous choice in the next question. So if you say October 10th in your first choice, you can go down here and put October 10th again, but that just means I'm going to have to email you in 3 months and ask you for a real second choice. So please pick unique choices for each date. And again, the vault dates will pop up as well if you are looking to choose either or both space. If you're interested in the classroom, those pop up not as a big date selection, but as a more specific, it's like another paragraph that you can add your planned or requested usage for the classroom. And then there's a little bit that we're asking you to identify about the audience and the event itself and what that programming looks like. And so definitely that's a space where you can identify if you're working with a collaborator, what that partnership looks like, and how you are still running that event itself. And then once you're done, you come down here. There is terms of use for you to view before you submit. And as you finish, you can either save the draft or submit. And then 2 quick submittable tips. I would strongly suggest answering questions in a Word document and then coming here to submit your answers, and also frequently saving while you are working through this process. The website does very well at a lot of things, but sometimes gets tricky if you walk away and come back. So save that work or work offline, and then we'll get the application and be able to review it. All right.
Great. Thanks so much. One just quick note on our side is when I finally receive this information, we begin scheduling, and something that's really helpful for us is understanding if you're selecting multiple dates in a row, which you can do as first and second selections, what are you using them for? Is it a Friday rehearsal, Saturday show? Does your ballet need 3 days to load in tech and perform twice? As many details as possible is good. Otherwise, we will just assume you only need 1 day, because I would like to try to fit as many community partners in that are comfortable completing their performance in 1 day. And a lot of our groups have found that we're able to accommodate that, and it makes the most room for everybody, which is great. But if you need multiple days, just let us know. And obviously we will work it in as best we can. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, thanks. I think, and just to what Carter was saying, I think that note is pointed out in the application and some of those gray sections, as well as a reminder when you're going through that process.
Sweet.
Thanks.
See if I can reshare the presentation. Cool. All right, so we'll jump back into this, starting with some of the box office and ticketing information. First and foremost, we require that all community partnership events are ticketed. From a building policy perspective, the number one thing is safety. It's how we keep a record of how many people are in or out of the theater at any time. It's also how we make sure that people coming into the building are there for your event, so on and so forth. There are great marketing benefits. At the end of each show, you can request a list of all ticket buyers with their names and emails to help build your list and boost future marketing. We have higher redemption for paid versus non-ticketed events. Basically, this means someone that's paying $10 for the ticket is more likely to feel compelled to come to your show and redeem it than if we're just putting tickets out into the market. The last thing is all of the ticket revenue is applied to your show expenses. It's always our goal to sell enough tickets to help you cover your venue expenses so that at the end of your event, we're sending you the funds instead of the reverse. So just to be clear, you set the ticket price, we collect it via Ticketmaster, it's applied to your expenses and then sent back to you. So you're retaining this ticket revenue. If you're wondering how do you get your show on Ticketmaster, don't worry, our team will do that for you. We have a pretty thorough ticket build form, which you'll complete in advance of your show. That'll provide our team with the necessary information to get it up. We need the form 10 business days prior to when you'd like the show to announce. I would always say further out is better. This can be one of the trickier parts of hosting your show here if you've never used Ticketmaster before. So giving us time to go back and forth about some of those questions is good. If you're thinking about paid versus comp, a comp ticket is a ticket that we will provide to you at no cost that you can give to sponsors or VIPs. Comps are not to be resold. You get 100 in the main theater and 50 in the vault. As I've mentioned, Ticketmaster is our exclusive ticket retailer. I always warn to beware of secondhand markets. We are certainly trying, but it is also very difficult to control some of these resellers. So if you ever see someone selling your show at above face value, let us know immediately, and we'll do everything to make sure that we are helping communicate the proper avenues for buying tickets. The great thing about this partnership, one of the great things is that we've negotiated lower ticketing fees. So you may be thinking, Ticketmaster, that's been historically associated with high fees. For this program, it's only $1.50 per ticket and $1.50 per order. So the fees are definitely controlled in this setting, and it makes it affordable for you, us, and Ticketmaster to make this work. Other approved partners are Certificate, Gold Star, VetTix, and Tickets for Kids. Um, VetTix and Tickets for Kids are more on the donation side, where if you have extra inventory and want to invite possibly some patrons that wouldn't be able to afford your show into the theater, that's one way to do that. VetTix being a veterans-focused one, Tickets for Kids being more focused on youth. Certificate and Gold Star are avenues for selling discounted tickets. So this is still a selling platform that we can help you set up. But other than those, if you're seeing Ticket Center or any other third-party sites, you'll want to let us know. We have a lot of questions about free shows or heavily discounted shows. We can do this, but it costs a $3 reservation fee. And that fee is collected by Ticketmaster, as it says there. So what this looks like is a complimentary ticket with a $3 reservation fee. Generally, we do not recommend this. We feel that assigning value to your ticket means that people will assign value to your show. So as you're marketing it, having a value associated with your ticket is important for people to see your name and respect your art and feel compelled to come see it. We don't want them to think that just because it's free, possibly it's of lower quality and not worth seeing. And again, paid tickets allow you to collect that ticket revenue. Next up, marketing. So you may be wondering how you're going to go about selling 1,600 seats. It's definitely a tall task. Do not feel intimidated by this. We're here to help you. I would say that most of our community partners in the main theater are averaging between maybe 300 to 700 as an appropriate range and an attainable goal. So definitely just focusing on that orchestra level. What we'll need from you to get some marketing going is a show poster or some kind of design related to the performance. In a perfect world, it's a Photoshop file. Canva, Word docs, and others are also certainly appropriate, and we can work with you on that. We'll need a description of the show, basically a couple sentences of why someone should see it, a press release, your logo, any historical video or photo is helpful, and then of course your website and social media. And what we'll do with this is we'll take it, your show will be listed at no charge on our website. You'll be included in our newsletter that goes out every week. There will be inclusion on our social media, including Facebook, Instagram, X, and all those things. And we can help assist with paid media buying. So the blessing of digital ad buying is that really any budget is an appropriate budget, and we can help you spend those dollars effectively without taking any agency cuts. So if you have $100 for an ad, all $100 gets applied to the ad to help spread the word. On the right here, you can see some stats about what our reach looks like currently. The building's only been around for a couple years, and I think we're pretty proud of these numbers in that time span. Almost 17,000 followers, 53,000 newsletter subscribers, and 76,000 unique previous ticket buyers. And these are all numbers we can leverage on your behalf to spread the word about your show. As you're contracted and on the ArtsFairfax website, you'll see a marketing services document that was built for this program that goes into the finer detail about how we can assist and what assets are available. Next up, the technical capabilities of the room. This is definitely going to be a high-level overview. At the orientation, if you are approved and scheduled, we'll go more in depth about what we can do. The technical packets for each room are also available on the ArtsFairfax website if you're looking for more information. But the basics of it are listed here. I'm not even going to go over them because I think that you kind of get a feel for seeing the stage and seeing the rooms of what's possible. Just rest assured that given the newness of the building, everything is as state-of-the-art as it gets, and you will get technicians to help you run this equipment as part of your rent. Next up, just a communication timeline from us. So in January of 2025, that's when I will hope to complete contracting for the season 5 dates. And then as we go through the season, you can kind of expect to hear from us along these 90, 70, 60, 14, and 7-day windows. This just kind of helps us stay ahead of your show. We want to make sure that you have plenty of time to be creative with your production, how you're going to use the space, and how to be cost effective while doing it. And of course, we also want the show to be on sale for at least 60 days. That's our minimum recommended window for the on sale period, which is why you can see in here 90 days prior. We want to start working on that ticketing form. That's not to say that anytime you can't reach out. We do site tours all the time here. So if you're interested in coming and seeing the space, getting some one-on-one time with our team, including the production team, we're happy to do that, whether it's 90 or 120 days prior. So don't hesitate to reach out. Sample day of show timeline. I use this as an example because a lot of our positions are based on 10-hour days. So to control your costs, we're going to recommend that from the time you're here, well, from the time our team is here to the time the building is clear should be within 10 hours. Of course, it doesn't have to be 12 to 10, but using this as a framework can help you kind of stay within that window and keep your cost in check. General practice of the building is we take your show time. 1 hour prior to show time is when doors open to the public. 30 minutes before your show, the house doors open. Pretty much everything outside of that is up to the discretion and the general agreement of your team and our team. We want to be flexible and make sure you have enough rehearsal time, have enough time to come in and set up, and of course, enough time for the length of the program. All right, so we're jumping into arguably some of the most important pieces of information in these slides. It is related to the costs of the program and the all-in cost of the production to your team. We'll start with the main theater. As noted before, rent is $19.50 per day. You may also see this in the agreement as the license fee, and you'll see there included under rent is a pretty long list of things. I think this is the most powerful part of this program is what's included in that rent. There has historically been some confusion about the rent being an all-in cost. I want to be super clear that it is not an all-in cost, but rather it gets you all of the items that are listed, and it's my team's responsibility to, as we learn about your show, communicate any expenses that won't be included under rent. And on the next slide, we'll go through some examples, but you can see here, and if you're a returning community partner, this may be one of the first times you're seeing that we are switching to having both a sound and lighting technician included in this license fee. Historically, it was only one, so that's a huge improvement. We're also upping the cleaning that's covered in the license fee and some of these other hours, but I won't read all these out, but for example, event security, 3 people for 6 hours each. This is to help cover the backstage areas of the building. Obviously, I just recommended a 10-hour day, so some of this event security cost will land on your show. The idea being that the building is taking the hit of 3 people for 6 hours, and then whatever's left is due to the show. And prior to the show, obviously, we will provide a quote and a pre-settlement, as mentioned before. So you can see this here. It's also included at the end of every license agreement. There's a sample agreement also available on the ArtsFairfax website. So if you're curious about seeing what's included, feel free to take a look at this, send me an email about your production, and I should be able to work out a quote for you. One popular question. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's great.
Can we bring our own sound technician, or must we hire the person from Capital One Hall?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are not a union house, as you can kind of see in the bottom right there. But what it does mention is that for our sound, lighting, and video capabilities, we will essentially always require that one of our technicians is present to make sure that the systems are operational and functioning properly and troubleshoot if there are any issues. If you have a qualified technician, we can certainly work with them in advance so that they can operate the lights for your show or be on sound for that evening. But in most cases, we will still require the in-house technician to be there.
Oh, okay, thank you. I mean, as long as the technician can handle our requirements, I guess that will be even better.
Yeah, that's kind of how we see it. And we also see it as, in some cases, a training exercise where someone that's extremely proficient in our equipment can collaborate with maybe someone who in your organization is wanting to learn about these things. Others bring in third parties, but even in that case, we still like to have someone that knows our systems just as a safety net.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for your question. So kind of continuing with this conversation, I've used previous settlement reports to kind of give you an estimate of your costs for a ballet show in the main theater. For this example, the total building expenses was $6,000. They're listed there. This gives you a sense of what may be included and what's not included. Any further lighting technicians, such as an L2, what wasn't included. The box office maybe was included for 4 hours, but there was a 5-hour window, which is the additional cost there. Stagehand and rigging positions aren't contemplated in the agreement, so those would be some additional cost if you're thinking, oh, okay, we're going to fly some scenes in and out. That's something you have to consider. And then cleaning and security, as I mentioned before, you get some of it covered, some on top. And these examples just kind of continue through. I will not read them all, but they're there for your reference. Food and beverage. So for each show, the Capital One Hall team will stock and operate the concessions. This includes a full bar, cold and hot food items, depending on the expected attendance for your show. If you are thinking that a certain food item may be interesting for your audience or correlates with your programming, you're welcome to suggest it, and we'll see what we can do to procure those items. But anything being sold from the bars is handled internally. For catering needs, and this relates to either backstage catering or if you plan on having a VIP reception associated with your event, this will need to be advanced by our team and be provided through one of our pre-approved caterers. We have team members dedicated to making sure that you can get your teams fed, your orchestras fed, things like that. If you're wondering if you can bring your own food, the general rule of thumb is that each performer can bring their own beverage and some kind of snack or meal item. But if you're thinking we will provide meals for everyone, that's when it crosses the threshold into needing to be advanced by our team. And we'd appreciate if you reached out at that point. Transportation. This has switched in the last couple of years. If you were here in season 1 or 2 and haven't been back since, this will be new to you. What you're seeing is kind of a bird's eye view of our campus, our box office being kind of here where this blue icon is in this blue building. Patron parking being this gold star, which is a parking deck that we refer to as C2. Patron parking for shows is $15. And then it's just a short walk around the corner to the building. The blue triangle here is to denote our north loading dock. This is where your team will deliver any larger items. If you have team members or performers with mobility issues, this is also where we may recommend that they park, as it is the shortest walk to the building. We can handle about 12 personal vehicles and 1 large SUV or U-Haul. In this area, I would say those are the most common vehicles we get through the Community Arts Partnership, although it is built for 2 16-wheelers, so there's no shortage of space there. This pinkish purple icon over here is the hotel and event lot. This is where your staff and performers will park. You will go up to level 6, and then once you come into the building directly through the backstage entry, we will validate your parking. So you and your team can park at the facility at no cost to you. And that is a majority of the program. I know a lot of information there. I'm glad that this will be available in post, and you can reach out at any time. If anyone would like to ask questions now, I'm happy to field them.